talk a little bit about books that were pulled from the shelves. So these comic books were all recalled. So these are all recalled books. And we're going to take a look at where these books are in the marketplace today. Obviously, we can't look at Red Hood #1 because that is today's marketplace. However, we could look we could always come back to it in about a year or so, see where it stands. However, there are certain books that were recalled for one reason or another, some of which because of what's in the book, some of which is with the behavior of certain, people. But what's very interesting enough is our first book is a very different book from all these books because the first book is Ultimate Fallout #4. I'm referring to Acetate C2E2 Black Flag variant.
I love how you like the acetate. It was Acetate Gate.
Well, it ended up becoming Acetate Gate, right?
Acetate, I love that.
So that was September 2021. So for those of you who are new to comics and don't were living under a rock during this time, this book was at C2E2, and there's so much controversy around the book, and there's more to this story than just a comic book, right? So Cliff, can you give me the Cliff Notes?
Oh my God! Well, you know what? So first off, apparently Marvel handled the reprint, but not the acetate attachment. Then people show up at C2E2 and see them there with a big old staple freaking arm, just bam, stapling the acetates right there on the cover. Then Homegirl showed up because she's a influencer, gets 75 copies, people on the line out of their mind, furious. Shout out to Homegirl. This ain't your fault, baby. And then to top it off, then the frenzy to get these slabbed. As you see, what up, DBS and Chill? The frenzy to get these slabbed. It was crazy.
And then the story that follows afterwards, right, with the whole black flag and the owner.
Oh yeah, hide your wives from Clayton Crane. It is Clayton Crane, right? Hide your wives.
Clayton Crane. Yeah, and so much was happening with this book because it is a facsimile book of a previous book, and it was unauthorized. It was done without Marvel's consent. So Marvel went as far as said, "You need to pull this book out," and they did. There was and it we're giving, like I said, this is the Cliff Notes version of this story. During that time of this, there was also Fan Expo happening in Boston, in which Black Flag was going to be there, and they were going to have other books. But Marvel forced their hand, and they had to pull everything to the point that when you went to the Black Flag table, which was an island, which is the whole surrounding piece, they needed to get artists to draw on the spot because they didn't have any books to sell, because they were banking on these books. And Marvel just straight up told them, nope. If you do it, that's it. We're suing you. Yep. So this book, at its reaction sales, it was going for as high as $500. Let's not even talk about
and more.
Yeah, and more in some cases. But I'm talking about the raws. We could even go into the CGC ones because those are fishy too. So there was a lot.
People are still asking big prices for the CGC ones.
Yeah. So the raw book, the last sale that I had recorded before we did the show was $100 near mint. So it has dropped in price, and I've seen prices even lower than $100. It's still one of those books that people want to be a part of history for, because again, it's a historical book in that way. There's a story, and man, there is a story with this book. The book in itself is nothing. It's just, I actually kind of find it ugly, to be honest with you. I don't think it's that impressive looking. It looks thrown together. It looks like some kid did it. My personal opinion.
I mean, like, the actual cover is fine. The acetate is questionable, but yeah, it's a conversation piece, and I can understand that. Although, I mean, it still retains some value.
Yeah, not to the same extent that it once had, though.
No, but not to the same extent. But again, it just goes to show you.
All right, let's take a look at our next book. Our next book is one that I didn't know about, but when I found out about it, it's kind of interesting. It's Immortal Hulk 43. This book came out in February 2021 from Marvel Comics. And in the comics, there's a window pane of a shop stencil with the word jewelry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of jewelry. And it
Mm-hmm.
also has the Star of David, which is a Jewish religious symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people were offended by it, and it was recalled by Marvel. It had a reaction sale of $30 to $40. That was the height it reached. Today, the last book sold at $9.
Yeah, I love that it's the UFOs on the cover, and for
Yeah.
my comic day collection, I happen to cover a different
Oh,
UFO.
really?
Yeah, and I just coincidentally,
Yeah.
but yeah, like and obviously not. You know what? I don't want to
Nerdy
get
Geek,
into it.
what's up, man?
No, the geek. So like, yeah, a really talented artist who had a great run on this book, and it's just a shame that and more artists on this list are just as guilty, and it's awful because like, do your job.
Yeah. Well, that's an editing issue, right? That's an editing discrepancy.
Okay, I think, when are we going to accept that editors don't do their jobs? Right? All those editors who used to do stuff, the Jim Shooters, the Louise Jones, and now known as Louise Simonson, all those people who did the real work. All right.
Well, the actual editor, not the editor in chief. We're talking about the person that actually is supposed to be looking at this book, reading this book,
the editor
checking the
of
book.
the title is supposed to be doing it.
And they're supposed to have caught this. This is one of those things. Especially the fact that it says jewelry instead of jewelry. And it has a Star of David.
Louise would not have let this happen. Louise would not have let this happen.
But it's crazy. It's one of those, what? You missed out on the L and you know what I'm saying? So this was one of those errors. It was an error. It wasn't done willfully. That from what we understand.
Okay. No, because then upon further investigation of this person and their political views in their home country, it did not seem so smooth. It did not seem so smooth.
All right, let's go to our next book here, and that is the one that you want to talk about because it's Batman Damn #1.
This book came to the table to answer questions for us. Questions that I absolutely need to know the answer to. What is that? What is? Of course, I got it. What is Batman slinging? I had to know.
The Batwing.
I had to know.
So for those of you who don't know, Batman Damned that came out back in September of 2018. The controversy behind the book is that it's full frontal nudity of Batman's penis in a panel. However, that was done intentionally, and I do believe the editorial team were aware of it. It was DC that said, we don't want this because Batman shouldn't be showing off his thing in a black label comic book.
It's an adult title. It's an adult book, but whatever. So, I thought it was, all joking aside, I think it's absolutely fine for an adult title. Then they sent out then they recalled this, sent out the one where it's all shadowed out, boring, and whatever, like, get over it, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's just nudity.
Yeah.
Everybody has a naked body.
So when the book came out, it was going to the height of $200. And as of today, the last book that sold was $51 near mint. However, the book has kind of retained that value. So $51 seems to be one of those, books that is just
stable.
Yeah, just stood stable. So it is a book that people want. It's a black label book, so it's a book that probably shouldn't have been recalled anyway. It was just the fact that it was Batman, so they didn't want Batman. They didn't want to show the Batwing.
Yep.
No. All right. Our next book. Now, this one's bad. It's X-Men Gold #1. This one came out in April 2017. Now, the controversy behind this book was that the artist, who is Ardeen Syaf, I believe, slipped in hidden political and religious messaging. Some of which I heard was anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
The reaction sales of this book reached the heights of $20. However, the book itself is not a expensive book. You can still pick this book up for $5. So, a little story about this one? from what you heard from it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This. Well, first of all, um, I mean, it. Oh man, how do I even go to buy? He's very pro Palestine,
Yeah.
right? And but back then he decided to insert something on someone's T-shirt in the comic.
Yeah.
That was really on the anti-Semitic side of things, and so yeah, that really created a problem here for him.
Yeah. What's up, Roscoe? How you doing, my man? Me and Roscoe, we're doing a project together, and he just sent me the project, the issue, and I can't wait to get it because he did the pencils. I'm doing the inks, and we're gonna do it for C3. So can't wait to. I can't wait to ink that piece because what he's done is awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna keep it quiet for now, but be on the lookout for that one. All right, let's move on to our next book here, and this was an interesting one too. This one didn't get that much buzz behind it, but you'll see in a second. It's Swamp Thing issue 11. This is the new 50. This is from the new 52 run. That came out in July of 2012. The controversy: the book was recalled due to a technical resembling male genitalia.
Yep.
Something about these wangs that everybody has problems with. The book hit a height of $15. However, in today's market, the book's about $8. It's you could probably find it in a dollar bin somewhere.
No, I will not say this. Swamp Thing series is very popular, and I don't think you will find.
Hey, Joffrey.
You may find a beaten copy in the dollar bin. I do not expect you.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely beaten.
Yeah, but I would not expect you to find this. Like this was a very well received. This and Animal Man are very well received. I do not see them in dollar bins. I usually see them, if people have them, they're showcased pretty well. It's interesting, but yeah, I think like a very fine at $8. If you got a near mint of this, it's definitely going to be a lot more than $8. Like this whole saga that he did here. Actually, honestly, I think this is the best thing he's ever done. Swamp Thing and Animal Man of the new 52, all that Batman stuff, he was retreading old water in a new skin for y'all. This was what this Swamp Thing and Animal Man is his best work.
Awesome.
But anyhow, those are just my opinions.
So what do you think about the technical?
I mean, again, I don't care. We often demonize sexuality, the nude body in this.
Well, that's an American thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very American thing, and it's something I think we really have to get over. You know, like it's just whatever. It's just a nude. It's not like, oh my God, Batman and Catwoman are going at it on page 2. Like, you know.
Well, I think more people will buy the book if that's the case.
I do understand that this was not an adult title, so I get it here. I absolutely get it here.
But Swamp Thing, it does run, it's one of those books that usually is adult oriented, even though this version of Swamp Thing was not considered an adult book. It usually falls under Vertical umbrella or things like that because of the Alan Moore writings, and then obviously the more sophistication of the book. The book is considered sophisticated reading, so it falls under that adult banner because Sandman's one of those books that they show Sandman playing whenever they want to, but here I guess they didn't want to do that. Oh well, moving on. This one I think is hilarious, and
it's ridiculous.
This one's hilarious.
No!
Action
Superman
Comics
had a
860. Well, let me say the book first, in case so people can hear it. Action Comics 869. This book is from DC Comics, September 2008. The controversy behind this one is Clark and Pa are drinking a beer on the ranch, hanging out, father and son, and DC said that Superman don't drink. So therefore, they recalled it, This is one of those books that is very expensive. This book had a reaction sale of up to $300. But in today's market, the book is going for about $108. That was the last sale of this book. It's still, people are seeking this book out because
Why
they
do you have
change it.
NG?
New, not graded.
Oh, not
So
great. Okay.
it's yeah, it's not graded.
I'm used to the word raw, but I understand.
No, in this particular instance, that's how they're referring to it.
Okay.
So it's not that it's, if it was raw, if it was near mint, it will say N and M. In this one, they're not entirely sure what's the grade of this book. So it's sold at $108. It's probably a near mint copy. However, it's not well known what kind of condition the book is. So that's why you have an NG there. Yeah, they changed the bottle to say soda pop.
Yep.
Because Superman can't drink. If there's someone that should be able to drink, it is Superman.
Exactly. Like, it's not like, it doesn't affect him. And then we go out of it within the James Gunn DCU,
He's cursing.
Like, yeah.
Well,
a little bit of cursing, but also Kara's stumbling in drunk because she gets drunk under a red star.
So Supergirl could get drunk, but Superman can't. So that,
I don't
know. And in the Marvel universe, Captain America could drink.
Yeah. By the way, Raphael made a good comment about they got all upset when they said Batman, when they were going to have on Harley Quinn.
I do remember that.
Harley Quinn, they were going to do this.
Yes, I remember that.
I do remember that. When the gay liberal producer of Harley Quinn comes out and says, "Why did they stop us from this?"
Yeah. Wow, they really are pressing this game, man.
Yeah, they are.
Streamland really wants you to get this game, man.
Well, dude, it's like the only thing that they could probably advertise that relates to to this content.
Possibly.
I gotta stop air quoting. I'm sorry. All
right, let's go to our next book here. All-Star Batman and Robin, issue number 10. This book came out in June of 2008. This one's funny because there's a printing era where there was a black box to censor any cursing that would happen. However, this one cracks me up. However, for this specific book, there's a scene where Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, says a cuss. And instead of they blacked it out the way they were supposed to, but you could see through the black. So that immediately got recalled. It is again, you're covering the word, but because you can see through it, you're going to recall it. So it's a printing error more than anything.
I know, but like this one's totally sus to me. Like I suspect that like they let this go. I mean, you're working with Frank Miller. What are you guys doing? Come on.
They recalled it afterwards though, but
I know,
the
but
recall
like
edition is not that expensive.
Who actually sent theirs back in and didn't sell this for a profit?
There was enough books on the racks that it was already too late. So look at today's market. It's a $6 book.
Yep.
I like the covers. One of my favorite covers that they did. All right, let's go to our next book here. Here we go. More Wang for your action. Now we got Spider Wang with Spider-Man Wang number 1. This book came out in February 2007. It's Spider-Man. Peter Parker's naked, and they're calling it his
old
web
man
shooter.
Peter, nonetheless.
It's called Peter's web shooter. That's the line.
Let me tell you, there was nothing impressive here. I don't know who they were upset with.
It was old man Peter, and let's just say old man Peter did not have the same feelings as Batman.
I
have the book. I saw it.
I have the book too.
Yeah, I have the book because I got the book when it came out.
Again, this was under the Marvel Knights line, which is supposed to be more adult oriented at that time.
Mm-hmm. It was adult oriented, but it didn't clearly say anything about being adult oriented. So I could understand that one. And and if you look at the drawings, it's kind of like it's not ultra detailed or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just it's like it's there. It's just there. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's nothing to go crazy over. This book had a height of $50, and today it's like $8. That was the last sale for a very fine copy. So it's about $10 book in jet. It's not a hard book to find. All right. Here's another fun one, and that is Elektra #3. This came out in September 2001. It has several shadowy panels of Elektra without clothes. Now, this was stupid too, because the book itself says mature, violent content, and she's not nude in the sense that they're showing it.
Yeah, it's silhouette nudes, like dumb.
So it's one of those things.
This was some darn good Bendis writing, by the way.
Well, I love this cover. This is one I have this book as well. But the book had reached a height of $150. Today, there's still this kind of demand for this book, so $36 is nothing to frown upon for this book.
Yeah.
But it is stupid. I think this one's more stupid than most of the other ones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's not real. It's kind of censored already.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think if this book came out today, it would probably be a red band book.
Yeah.
In the bag.
All for silhouettes.
Mm-hmm. For silhouettes. Innuendos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I believe this is our last one, which is our biggest one, believe it or not. And it's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, DC Comics, which is under the all ABC banner. Came out in May of 2000. This has a parody advertisement of a feminine hygiene product called Marvel Miracle Douche.
For when you need to feel extra clean, a lady can use the Marvel Miracle Douche. Now in a scented variety with vanilla and violets, so that you don't have to have that vinegar odor when you're done in the bathroom.
I feel like I'm watching an SNL commercial. This book reached a height of $850 during its time. However, the book is still on demand for $1,000. It's sold this week.
In a 9.8.
In a 9.8. This book, that someone got lucky and got this book for $51. But if you look at all the other prices, the book is still on demand. It's also the first appearance of Sherlock Holmes in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so it does have some key performance into it. But DC had to pull it out because, literally pull it out. Now I'm thinking about it. If you're gonna be a douche, be a Marvel too.
Are you feeling like a mere mortal when you could feel marvelous? The
douche.
Only hygiene product infused with gamma freshness, vibranium strength, and Asgardian purity. When my arch nemesis tries to ruin my day, I blast it back with the Marvel Miracle Douche. Now I feel invincible and fresh.
Douche. I can't believe they let this happen. Well, they let it happen because, one, it is under a indie imprint within DC Comics. So DC, when it comes to those imprints, they're not really paying attention.
Was America's Best theirs, or they bought it after? Because I think they bought it after this.
So, well, I know it was enough to recall it, because if it was still under Wildstorm umbrella as far as Jim Lee's company goes, I'm not 100% certain when the deal went through, when Wildstorm went through, but I do assume it had to be nearby.
Was 1999 as an imprint of Wildstorm, and then let's see, DC bought Wildstorm. In December of 2010.
Oh wow! So this
or something like that.
2010? You sure it was 2010?
Nope. Sorry, wrong. I read the wrong thing. DC bought it in 1998. So yep, this was fallen under DC's time.
Yeah, so DC pulled it. I'm shocked they did. I would have figured they would have kept it. Jeez.
Listen,
I would have, So
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
So there you have it, guys. Those were the pull comics. Of course, there's so many more, but I decided to keep it within the 2000s. There's more books that were pulled for other reasons and things like that. But since the topic of Red Hood is in the Size Guide, I figured this would probably be a good opportunity. I personally believe the Red Hood comic book is going to drop in price because there's just a lot out there. I think there's way more than people care to imagine. So there you have it.
One more plug for the Marvel Miracle Douche. The Marvel Miracle Douche. Assemble your freshness.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight. And I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.